You do not put your hands on me. Do you understand? You're a male officer. You don't touch me.
All right.
You're a male officer. Get your hands off me.
Have you been able to go back on to a TransLink, or what's that like if you do?
Well, one time since, and I was terrified. I was shaking.
Ms. Foley tried to explain that she had a condition that gave her an exemption from the mask requirement. That's an exemption provided for in the very order that the officer was supposedly trying to enforce. So I'm at a loss as to why the officer felt that he had reasonable and probable grounds to charge Ms. Foley with anything, to remove her from the train, and to manhandle her when she wouldn't.
Guys, we had a win. It's Drea Humphrey with Rebel News. It's not every day I get to bring you guys good news. Honestly, it's infringement after infringement thanks to our politicians and bureaucrats and COVID worshipers, what have you. But not today. Through our Fight the Fines initiative, where you guys head to fightthefines.com, donate there, and we lock arms with people in need and set them up with free legal counsels from awesome lawyers. We have a success towards victory, towards freedom for all, because that's what happens. Every fine we fight, every criminal charge we fight, that's what we're doing here. So thank you guys so much for it. You're going to love this story, and you're going to love this brave woman who told her story when so many people get discriminated for not being able to wear a mask, and they don't even feel like they can do that. So take a look. Well, we got a smile on our faces in this report. This is Valerie Ann Foley. She's a familiar face, but the first time we brought you her story at rebelnews.com, boy, was there no reason to smile, was there?
Yeah, it was pretty horrific. I was brutally and viciously assaulted by a transit police officer who punched me repeatedly, slammed me against the wall. And then when the train came to a stop, he dragged me off the SkyTrain and handcuffed me to a railing, even though I presented him my exemption information.
Take a look.
Well, then I guess you're going to have to fine me because I have a medical exemption.
I don't want to find you.
And you're discriminating against me?
I'm not discriminating. Right now, I'm asking you.
I'm not getting off the train.
If that's the case, what we're going to have to do is we're going to have to arrest you for breaching the peace.
You're going to have to arrest me because I don't have a mask? Are you kidding me? I am medically exempt. I showed you my medical exemption card. This is harassment.
Order. Okay.
No, you need to step back.
All right. So if that's the case, I'm going to be placing an arrest for breaching the peace.
No, you're not placing me under arrest.
Yes, I am.
No, you're not.
All right, Miss, she's going to get you. Okay.
Do not touch me. You do not touch. You do not. You're a male officer. You do not put your hands on me. Do you understand? You're a male officer. You don't touch me.
All right.
You're a male officer. Get your hands off me.
Now, we've covered a ton of examples of discrimination against people who are unable to wear a mask exemption. Like Valerie Ann told you, she stated she had one, and this so-called officer who wasn't even properly identified put his hands on her when she should have been able to get home safely. Now, there was absolutely no way that we could see what happened to you, hear your story, and not offer you any help. Because in addition to that, how disgusting that is, you were actually charged because of it, criminally charged with assaulting a police officer. So we set you up with a top-notch lawyer, Matthew Wolfson. And that was through our Fight the Fines program. So it was actually a lot of people just like you who came together to donate there to help cover some of the costs. I say some because we are still going with this. So please go to fightthefines.com to continue to help. But tell us what it was like getting some help from Matthew.
Matthew Wolfson was amazing. He helped me every step of the way. I am dyslexic, so reading is really hard and difficult for me to read and understand. And he walked me through the entire process, read out the emails and stuff that I got. So I can't thank him enough. Thank you, Matthew. You've been amazing, and I appreciate everything that you do. I'm so grateful for you. Thank you so much.
Well, thank you so much, Matthew, from David Anbert Law. And we're going to show you Matthew right now. We're going to get his take on why it was important to take this case.
We were very interested in Miss Foley's case when we saw the video of her arrest, and we believe that what transpired amounted to a violation of her rights as protected by the Charter of Rights and Freedoms, most notably her right to be free from arbitrary detention. We believe she was detained when the arresting officer gave her an ultimatum, which was to put on a mask or leave. Now, Miss Foley tried to explain that she had a condition that gave her an exemption from the mask requirement. That's an exemption provided for in the very order that the officer was supposedly trying to enforce. So I'm at a loss as to why the officer felt that he had reasonable and probable grounds to charge Miss Foley with anything, to remove her from the train, and to manhandle her when she wouldn't. Ultimately, Miss Foley was criminally charged, and that included a charge of assault peace officer. But I'm happy to say that we've recently received a document indicating that the Crown will not be prosecuting the criminal charges. This is great news for Miss Foley, but we hope that it may serve as a reminder to the police that they should be aware of what their legal authority is to detain someone when they detain someone.
So how does it feel to have had the charges dropped?
It feels amazing. It feels like I can actually breathe again. I cried like tears of joy because it was just such a weight lifted off of me, right? It's really scary when you're violated, your rights are violated so badly, but then you end up getting charged. It was like living a nightmare. It really was. I still deal with the trauma of it. So I take it day by day.
Have you been able to go back on to a TransLink, or what's that like if you do?
Well, one time since, and I was terrified. I was shaking. I was just a wreck. But my friend walked me all the way to the train to make sure I got on the train safely. But that's it. Just one time. I don't know. That kind of trauma, it's hard to just let it go, right? So.
Absolutely. And again, if for some reason the world was insane enough that you actually got charged with assaulting an officer in this situation, how would that have changed your life?
I have no idea because I'm not a criminal, so I don't commit crimes.
Right? Exactly. Now, how has life been with you in general, especially since then, as far as discrimination goes against people who are medically exempt from wearing a mask?
It's all day, every day. People don't respect mask exemptions. I have been denied service in so many places I can't even count. I was denied service to my court appearance. On my court appearance, when I went to go get it stamped, the courthouse refused me service. I went to the hospital to pick up a loved one at Surrey Memorial, and they denied me service. I was forced to stand in the freezing cold for 2 hours until this person was ready to be released.
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know what is going on with people. This virus, as we know, for people our age, it is not this deadly thing that we once were told, and yet people are getting treated. It doesn't matter what type of disability you have, whether or not you literally don't have hands to put the mask on with indigo chapters.
I seen that, and I was absolutely appalled. And autistic children, their faces can't be covered. There are certain people who just cannot wear the mask, and it needs to be respected. Like, enough is enough.
Well, unfortunately, the battle isn't completely over for you. We wanted to do this report because at any opportunity we have, we need to spread the good news about the step towards freedom and what is right being done. So we wanted to celebrate this with our supporters who went behind you. But we also want to encourage supporters to go to fightthefines.com because Valerie still has tickets, right?
I do.
Tickets to be fought for this. So again, no apology, correct, from TransLink?
No apology from anybody, no compassion, nothing from anybody.
Then you had a broken rib, traumatized, and you were charged and also fined. So we're going to be fighting those fines for you. So, where are you at with this? What message do you want to share to the people watching?
just thank you to everybody who has sent me love and support. I appreciate all of you. And it's been such an outpouring of love from people, and I appreciate all of you guys. I will be suing TransLink and the police officer himself. I will be going after his bonds. I will be going after TransLink. And because enough is enough, people need to stand up and stand up for what's right. And it's never okay for a male officer to ever brutally and viciously assault a female passenger.
Well, you heard from Valerie Ann herself. This is a happier report, but it's not over. It's still a disgrace that Canadians are getting tyrannical fines. I'm going to let Matthew fill you in right now as well about where we're at with this next part of the fight.
The criminal charges, I believe, are gone, but the non-criminal charges, the provincial offenses on her ticket, remain. Our next step is to appear in court for her, and if the Crown does want to proceed on these charges, we will likely be going to trial, arguing that the event amounted to a breach of her charter rights.
If you care for what happened to Valerie Ann, you want to stand beside her, please go to fightthefines.com. Anything that you donate goes to her legal fees, but it also goes to hundreds of other Canadians that we are helping for various reasons, some criminal, some fines. We're really trying to do our best to fight the good fight. So that's at fightthefines.com. Thanks so much for speaking with us.
Thank you, Rebel News. You guys are amazing.